That was the theory that Terence McKenna had to the thing that's going to change the universe, is that one day someone's going to invent a time machine, and that when they invent a time machine, all time ceases to become linear.
The man's name was Sergey Ponomarenko, and when the police asked him for his ID, he handed it to them, and the first thing they noticed was that it was issued from a country that didn't exist anymore.
The story of Sergey Ponomarenko, a Ukrainian displaced time traveler, has captivated everyone who hears it. The details surrounding his appearance in modern times are so accurate that many believe it proves that time travel exists. This tale has led to several discussions and videos. Despite the number of true believers in this tale, many skeptics also exist. Is this another hoax, like so many other time travel tales? Can we trust this story? To reveal the truth, we'll have to retell this fascinating tale that has captivated and convinced so many. Join us as we uncover the truth of history's most convincing time traveler, Sergey Ponomarenko's story and investigation. On April 23, 2006, a man stood on the street in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. He wore an old Soviet military uniform and carried an old camera. His behavior was quite peculiar. Given the historical tensions between Ukraine and Russia, his outfit was no longer acceptable. At that moment, individuals began casting uneasy glances toward the man, causing him to feel increasingly uncomfortable. His behavior grew even more strange. Fortunately, the police happened to be nearby and spotted the man. When they approached him, they made a series of inquiries. The man professed to be disoriented and oblivious to his location. The police requested his ID, hoping for some form of identification to assist him. As they examined the document, confusion washed over their faces. What they found out would shock you. A particular detail on the ID immediately drew their attention. The intriguing aspect of the situation was that the ID belonged to a country that no longer exists, the Soviet Union. Everyone split up when the Soviet Union collapsed, including Ukraine. Despite its validity, the ID was no longer in production. The fact that the person possessing this ID was a young man in his 20s made it even more puzzling. It seemed unlikely he would have any personal connection to the Soviet Union. His ID indicated that he was born in 1932, and his picture matched the one on the ID. All the details were in order. The ID bore a government seal, and its name read Sergey Ponomarenko. The police were perplexed because, according to his ID, this man should be 74 years old, but he appeared to be in his 20s or 30s. Trying to gather more information, one of the officers casually asked Sergey what day he believed it was. To their surprise, Sergey confidently replied, April 23, 1958. This only deepened the mystery, leading the police to conclude that this man needed mental help. Sergey, however, insisted that he wasn't crazy. As he continued to talk, particularly about the Soviet Union, the police looked at him with suspicion. Sergey found himself faced with a difficult decision: jail or a psychiatric facility. Opting for the latter, he was escorted to a mental hospital and introduced to Dr. Pavel Krutikov, a psychologist. Following a briefing with the police, Sergey accompanied Krutikov to his office. Upon entering, his surroundings captivated Sergey as if he witnessed them for the first time. When questioned by Krutikov, the man recounted his encounter to the doctor, claiming that his birthday was June 16, 1932, and that he was 25 years old, despite his youthful appearance. He explained that his passion for photography always led him to carry a camera. Intrigued, the doctor decided to entertain Sergey's story and asked about how he had supposedly traveled to the future. Sergey described how, camera in hand on a sunny day, he had set out for a stroll in the city. However, his plans unexpectedly turned when he spotted a peculiar object in the sky. With its bell-like shape, the object moved in a bizarre manner that defied explanation. Sergey struggled to articulate the strange sight he had witnessed, leaving the doctor intrigued and perplexed. As a result, he chose to capture the image with his camera. However, immediately after he took the picture, he suddenly found himself in an unfamiliar city. Dr. Krukikov decided to examine Sergey's camera and the images within. It became evident that the camera was of an older make. Surprisingly, he found himself examining a rare Yashica Flex camera. It was discovered that this camera used a film type that had not been produced since the 1970s. Recognizing his limitations, the doctor sought the expertise of professional photographer Vadim Posner. When Posner arrived at the scene, Sergey's camera surprised him. According to Posner's explanation, Sergey had been using a 120 dual-lens reflex camera, manufactured by Yashica in 1953. Additionally, Posner noticed that the film reel, dating back to 1956, was still in remarkably excellent condition. At first, Posner believed that Sergey was simply an avid collector, as some photographers enjoy keeping old equipment. Even more intriguing is that the film used by this camera is no longer produced, yet Sergey's camera had film and it was in excellent condition. The confusion deepened when Vadim shared his analysis. Dr. Krutiko then requested Posner to carefully examine some pictures to determine if the alleged UFO Sergey mentioned was still visible. Creating the image was quite a challenge, considering it was captured way back in 1956. Posner put in a lot of effort to develop it, and to his surprise, he discovered a bell-shaped UFO in the picture, just as Serge had mentioned. When the doctor questioned Serge about the UFO and the photo, Serge said they now see he was telling the truth, yet he still doesn't know what this object is or how it appeared in the photo when he took it. He only took the picture and found himself where he currently was. Some of the pictures that Posner had washed revealed a glimpse into the past, the streets of Kiev in the 1950s, and even a photo of Sergey himself standing outside a building in 1956. One of the pictures also featured a woman with Sergey, but their connection remained a mystery. After Posner finished developing the photos, he couldn't help but study the film again. The whole thing intrigued him so much. Posner mentioned that ordinary film has a 20 to 30-year shelf life and requires freezing for preservation. The film of Sergey's is quite peculiar. The washed photos are remarkably clear and haven't undergone the usual preservation process. The more Posner thought about it, the more amazed he became. He had numerous questions he wished to ask Sergey. They still had some photos to wash, so they kept Sergey in a separate room with someone stationed outside to ensure he wouldn't escape. They also installed cameras in the facility to enhance security. However, a surprise awaited them: Sergey's disappearance and search for clues. Later that day, after thoroughly examining all the pictures, they needed Sergey to provide some answers. However, when they ventured to his room in search of him, they found him nowhere. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. The police carefully reviewed the camera footage for any clues. It confirmed that Sergey had entered the room, but there was no evidence of him leaving. Initially, everyone assumed that Sergey had somehow managed to sneak out and escape. They meticulously examined all the nearby camera footage, only to be shocked by the absence of any trace of Sergey. It seemed that he had truly disappeared. The psychiatrist Krutikov proposed a plan to search through the pictures to find clues to locate Sergey. They carefully examined each picture, hoping for a breakthrough. Do you believe in time travel? Kindly share your answers, thoughts, and opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel to enjoy more videos like this. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.